People can appear confident on the outside, yet inside they're paralyzed by doubt. So, what's the real issue here? You second guess every decision, you replay conversations in your head, and when it's time to act, you freeze. Well, you struggle because you don't trust yourself. And today, I'm going to break down exactly why that happens. Let's get straight into it. Trusting yourself isn't about confidence slogans or forcing positive thoughts. It's about the relationship you've built or failed to build with yourself over time. Think about it. Trust is earned. If a friend constantly broke promises, you wouldn't rely on them. Yet many of us do exactly that to ourselves. We say we'll start the project, but then we don't. We say we'll set boundaries, but then we cave. Over time, our brain learns, I can't count on me. And here's the kicker, this lack of self trust doesn't come out of nowhere, it's shaped by years of conditioning. Maybe you grew up in an environment where your choices were dismissed. Maybe you were praised only when you pleased others. Or maybe you've been burnt by failures so many times that hesitation feels safer than action. So when you struggle to trust yourself, it's not laziness. It's a survival strategy your mind has built to avoid pain. But survival mode isn't where growth happens. And that's why this matters, because without self-trust, every decision feels like a battlefield. I myself am getting better at it, getting better at trusting my instinct, trusting that feeling. I still remember just before the pandemic happened, when I knew God was calling me to take a journey. God was calling me to leave the UK, to leave home, to go and have growth on my own. Initially, I was like, okay, maybe I'll do something closer to home. And I had actually tried to move to Portugal, but COVID happened. And I remember sitting in my room. I think this must have been like month 4 or something of me being really ill from COVID and asking God and saying, okay, well, maybe I misheard you. Maybe it wasn't you telling me that I needed to go on a journey because here I am now, I'm not feeling well. I'm constantly having all this like breathing problems is what I really got from COVID. So maybe I'm not supposed to. Maybe that was you telling me that I'm not supposed to leave home. And I remember him saying to me, no, I want you to go, but I never wanted you to go to Portugal. Remember when I told you you needed to go to Australia? And I was like, oh, but it's too far. I can't go that distance. I've never really left home apart from going to uni. I loved my bubble of being at home. My siblings are my best friends. I was like, no, God, what on earth am I going to do in Australia? God, there's no black people in Australia. I'm supposed to be putting myself out there, remember, God, to find my husband. And if there are no black people in Australia, what am I going there to do, right? And I remember him saying, you need to go. And I remember the day that I finally decided that I was going to trust what he was telling me. And I said, God, I trust you. You have never let me down. And if you're telling me that I need to go to this country so far away that I haven't been to since I was a kid, then I trust you. But I also remember him telling me in that moment, I'm only sending you there temporarily. So don't pack all these bags you're packing. Because I was like, okay, well, if I'm going, that's it. I'm not coming back to the UK. I'm packing everything. And I was packing all, and I remember him saying, I want you to go there because there's something I need you to learn. But you need to be out of home to do that. And you need to be far away where you will have no distractions. Mum or whoever can't just hop on a train and come and see you. You need to go there, but you're only going to be there for a temporary amount of time. And I was like, nah, that's not true. But that's a story for another day. But I was so glad that yes, it took me about a year to come to that place. But when I finally leaned into that trust to God, when I finally said yes to God and He's calling for me to go to Australia, it has ended up being the most profound and beautiful experience that I honestly think I've had in my life. The people that I've met, the things that I learned that I didn't even know that I needed to learn, the appreciation that I have for family and friends. That word, loneliness, I never understood it until I got to Australia. And I never saw just how resilient and how apt I am at being able to adapt to a new environment until I got to Australia. So by leaning into that, I was able to not just deepen my relationship with God, but I was able to grow aspects of myself that I didn't even know I was lacking in or needed further growth in. And I was able to start building this muscle much stronger so that the next time that he called me, and he did, when he told me it was time for me to go, that I would actually be able to hear it and act quicker. So, how do you rebuild trust with yourself? Let's break it down into clear steps. Number one, keep micro promises. Don't overwhelm yourself with huge commitments you can't realistically keep. Trust is built in small, consistent steps. Start with something so easy it's almost impossible to fail, like drinking a glass of water when you wake up or writing down one sentence in a journal each night. Every time you follow through, you prove to yourself, I can rely on me. These little wins stack up. Over time, the small promises create a foundation of trust strong enough to handle bigger goals. Number two, separate your voice from others. A lot of the doubt that erodes self-trust doesn't even belong to you. It's old noise, a parent's criticism, a teacher's disapproval, a cultural rule about how you should live. The problem is when you treat those voices as your own, you keep second guessing yourself. To rebuild trust, you need to sort out what's yours from what isn't. When you can clearly say, that's not my voice, that's someone else's, you stop fighting yourself and start listening to your real guidance. And like I said in the next video, we will break down how to tell whose voice is in your head. 3. Reframe failure as data. When you see mistakes as proof you're unreliable, you damage self-trust even more. But failure doesn't have to mean I can't be trusted. It can mean I just got more information. If you try something and it doesn't work, that's not betrayal, that's feedback. It tells you what needs adjusting. People who trust themselves deeply don't avoid failure, they use it. Every misstep becomes a lesson that makes them sharper, more resilient, and more confident the next time. 4. Practice decision reps. Like muscle, decision making gets stronger through repetition. The problem is that you hesitate and second guess until your trust erodes. To build it, start with low stake choices. What to eat for lunch, which route to take home, what to wear today. Make the call quicker and then stick with it. Each small decision is like a rep in the gym. The more you practice, the more you prove to yourself, I can make choices. I can live with the outcomes. I can trust me. Here's the bottom line. You don't struggle to trust yourself because you're broken. You struggle because you've been trained to doubt your own voice. But trust is built, not given. Every small promise you keep, every decision you own is proof that you can rely on you. And if you want to go deeper, the next step is learning how to separate your voice from everyone else's. And that's exactly what we'll cover in the next video. How to identify whose voice is in your head. Don't dismiss it.